Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. So this is the Bottom of the Well. So this is a free-to-play game on Steam. I have no knowledge of this game, but I mean it's free. It has good reviews. It looked interesting, so let's give it a try to see how it goes. So click anywhere to start. Alright, so the bottom of the well. I guess we'll just keep everything the way it is now. Okay, welcome to the bottom of the well. The game is a visual novel, meaning it is mainly text-based piece of interactive fiction. A book where you get to decide what happens next. Most of the gameplay consists of picking your choice from a selection of options, which will further the story. Okay. Bottom of the well does have some gameplay aside from multiple choice though. The most important of which is the kind of Alice, our protagonist, you're going to play. For your first playthrough, we recommend you use default Alice, but the customization is there to be used. Even if you complete the game, a different Alice might have a very different experience. If nothing else, you might just find a new way to die. Thank you for playing our game, Red Nettle Studio. Okay. I like to play default Alice. I would like a randomly generated Alice. I would like a custom Alice. I would like the dark Alice. You know what? Even though it says recommend, I kind of want to try custom. I just want to see what we can get. Customize your Alice down to individual stat points if you wish. Although it is not recommended for your first playthrough. It is, however, advised for, okay, so 9 points. So maybe go back to, you know what? We'll just do with default Alice since that's what they recommend. And since I'm going to be uploading this, I don't want to have like a bad first experience with the game by not listening to the recommended choice. Because I don't think that would be fair on the game's part. So if I like this game enough and I decide to do another playthrough, whether I record that or do it off camera, I'll mess with that. Otherwise, I'm just gonna stick with the default Alice, since that's what they recommend. This Alice is career motivated, friendly, somewhat lazy, a hopeless romantic, with no survival skills at all. She makes up for it by being a good organizer. I don't like the fact that there's no survival skills, but yeah, because I mean dating, I don't know, like I'd probably take either 2 or 1 point off dating, put into survival, maybe take a point or 2 off career and put it into fitness and survival. But this is what they recommend, so let's do it. Okay, dear diary. Today I had the weirdest dream in my life. I'm waiting for Joe to come online so I can talk to someone. Oh, I can't see what it says. Okay. Morning A. Morning. Okay. Did you catch the anniversary reading last night? No. Well, I tried, but I fell asleep. Listen, about that. You fell asleep? Oh, come on. Alice in Wonderland is like our favorite. Let me finish. Something happened. I was tuning in on my radio. You're such a Ludette. Amazing I can even catch you online. Shut up, I'm not a Ludette. I just like analog things. Anyway, I was tuning into the broadcast, and I must have hit the AM switch or something, because suddenly the channel changed to something else. Should I give Alice like a more feminine voice? My voice is deep enough, so I can't really do that, but maybe try just to kind of distinguish between the two. What? Aliens? Oh, government-run number stations? No. I was this weird, like, white noise at first. It's hard to explain why I was so drawn to it. I could hear snippets of some melody, maybe lyrics, but the signal was weak. So you turned it off and continued looking for the Alice broadcasts? So I went out on my balcony and turned the antenna around until the signal came through clear. It now sounded more like music, with the odd signal in the background. When logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead, and the white knight is talking backwards, and the red queen's off with her head. Oh, someone's pirate radio broadcast of golden oldies. That's a good song, by the way, White Rabbit. It felt like there was something else there, some message that the music was hiding. I know it sounds weird, and then I fell asleep. What a story. No, hear me out. I dreamed and I didn't know I was dreaming. Do you understand? It was entirely lucid, but like waking up in another world, except I didn't think of it as another world. Ugh, does this make any sense? You had a super lifelike dream where you didn't know you were dreaming, but you were still lucidly in control? Sounds pretty rad to me. I'm sure it would have been, except for the whole end of the world apocalypse bit in the dream. Okay, now you've got my attention. So like I said, it was the end of the world. Everything I did that day felt like the real thing. Every smell, every sound, every color, every touch. It's important, you know that? I wasn't acting like I would in a dream. I didn't know it was a dream. Heavy. There was no warning, no build-up, nothing. Just between one moment and the next, the TV had turned to the emergency alert system, and this voice that sounded like it had been recorded in the 60s told us we were under attack. Okay. Were you alone? Yeah. I had a really long day at the office, so I sworn off all social contact for the evening. I had the TV on in the background, just as noise. Wait, what? The office? I mean, have you got some kind of a real adult person job in this dream of yours? Yeah, actually, at the college, student admissions office. Hey, don't sound so surprised. I am going to graduate in just a few months, you know. Uh-huh, with a BA in English Lit. Shut up. Such skill with words. Anyway, what happened next? Like I said, the TV suddenly turned to the emergency alert system. Jacked the volume all the way up, too. I didn't even know they could do that. The broadcast told us we were under attack right now and that we needed to get to shelter. That we had less than 30 minutes before the bombs hit. Jesus, sounds scary. At first I didn't want to believe it. I switched the channel, but they were all the same. And then the sirens started. Tornado sirens, flood sirens, I don't know. And I knew things were serious. So what do you do? I went online to find out what was going on. I immediately tried to call Chess. I needed to think about my options. Maybe if I go online and find out what's going on? Didn't you try calling someone? Like your parents? Of course I tried, but it's futile. The phone network was completely overworked, but the net still worked fine. So what'd you find? The net was still working, but the bandwidth was severely lacking. The major news networks were either down or overloaded, but all the big search engines defaulted to some kind of government site in super simple HTML. That kind of confirmed it really was the real deal. Isn't the net supposed to be some kind of DARPA invention anyway? Wouldn't be surprised if they had some kind of system in place to take it over if need be. Well, they hadn't taken it over. You could still go wherever you wanted. Facebook still worked. Apocalypse-proof services? Apocalypse-proof service? Nice. It was insane. I tried to get in touch with my brother. He's the only one who's even got an account, but there was no reply. I spammed my aunt and sent an email to my mother, but I don't know. It felt like I needed to find someone right there and then. And? A group chat. It was spreading to our social network like wildfire. Someone had found the closest old fallout shelter that was actually still operable, down on 3rd. People were going there, just grabbing all they could and running before the bombs fall. So what happened next? You know, I did find you online. That must have been useless. I'm all the way over in old Blighty, unless things were different in your dream. No, you were still in the UK. The bombs had already started falling there. You disappeared. There's nothing more to do. It was only a dream, Al. Sure. So then what? Immediately tried to call Chess. I need to think about my options. Fallout shelter seemed like the best option. I would say immediately call Chess, but she just mentioned that the phone lines were kind of down. So no point in that. So I guess it's the fallout shelter. The fallout shelter was down on 3rd. It wasn't far. Close enough to walk anyway. Did you think to bring anything? Oh, right, yes. I grabbed the biggest bag I had. A backpack. People always called it magic. You could fit so much into it. Bigger on the inside and all that. Okay. Oh. I would say take a flashlight. Take a map. Take food. Can I take all of them? Yeah. Oh no. Okay. So drop the sleeping bag. I feel like the radio would probably be more important than the sleeping bag. Keep the flashlight, keep that. So that's all I can take. So I can't take the spare clothes. Can't take the sleeping bag. Unless I want to drop one of these. But I feel like a flashlight and a map is more important than spare clothes and a sleeping bag. What's this? Nope. My miniature sleeping bag was useful, but God knows how useful it will be. Okay. Most of my clothes are in a state of advanced disarray, but I've kept the set clean and faded in case I finally find myself a date. Well, I don't really care about dating in the apocalypse. Oh, what's this? Okay. I guess that's what we'll take. Food seems like it would be important. A radio feels like it would be important just so I can keep up with what's going on. A flashlight seems more important than a sleeping bag. And so there's a map. I am tempted about the spare clothes, but this seems like the spare clothes in case I find myself on a date. I don't really care about dating in the apocalypse, so I guess this is what we'll take. Well, go on. What was it like? Did you run into trouble? You can say that. God, that shelter. So, I headed towards the shelter from my apartment. I'll admit I was still kind of hoping it was all just some kind of big false alarm. By tomorrow, everything would be back to normal. A extreme version of Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast. Actually, the panic that radio show caused was greatly exaggerated, probably by Welles himself, and it worked. We still remember it today. Great ad campaign. Guess that English Lit degree is coming to some use at least. Yeah, well, it didn't really feel like it. I remember trying to think of words to describe the way the streets felt, the way the city sounded. Turmoil, chaos, anarchy, pandemonium. The capital of hell. Now who's got a degree in lit? That's from John Milton's Paradise Lost. Stop stalling. Yeah, it's just so fucking damn. Like I said, everything felt so real. The panic in the streets, the accidents everywhere, with no emergency responders showing up, and the ever-present siren. It was like everyone walked with their eyes to the sky, just expecting to see a flash. Did you make it to the shelter okay? The shelter was actually in the basement of a bar. They used it as storage, which was handy since there was a door toward the street. But there was no signs of anything like that anymore. I just knew about it from a Facebook conversation. Okay. Wait. Isn't that bar you always go to? The Rad Bar? Yeah. Go on, Alice. Did you get in? I went to what I thought was a side door. It wasn't the kind of alleyway I'd usually hang out in. I could just imagine junkies and hobos sleeping among those trash bags. Anyway, the suspense is killing me. So I knocked on the door and then immediately tried the handle. It was locked. Nothing happened for a while. Then the door opened, just a bit, and she stuck her head out. She? The bitch queen. She was this redhead chick who had taken charge of everything in there. She was the one who originally posted about the place, so I guess she felt she owned it somehow. She stood there in the doorway, looking me over, and then basically said, "We're full," like it was an exclusive club. I can't believe they just keep you out for no good reason. Was it actually full? Ha, not a chance. There was a sign on the door that said capacity 100. There was just no way there was 100 people in there already. I said as much. She didn't reply. I guess you didn't just let it be at that? Tried talking my way and I tried to push the door open. I said I wasn't the only one wanting to get in. I gave up. Maybe try talking away in. I tried talking my way in. You can't just leave me out here, and so forth. She just repeated that they were full, that there wasn't enough food for her anymore, that I should try to find some other place to hide. Stone cold bitch indeed. Tried telling her I wouldn't be a burden. I had brought food. I opened my bag and showed her. You're nicer than I would be. What did she say? I wasn't being nice. I was being desperate. I was trying to figure out the rules of this sudden new reality. She hesitated. Then she said, Alright, but you'll have to share. A bribe, huh? How tempting. What was your answer? Take the queen up on her offer. I tried to push the door open, so I was the only one to get in. I gave up. Sorry, I didn't drink some water. My throat's been kind of messed up lately. I decided to take the queen up on her offer. So she let me slip in, closing the door behind me with a bang. Also, I don't know if the mic will pick it up. If you guys hear any weird noises, my dog is sleeping behind me and she's snoring, so. Barely had time to get my bearings before she started talking. Before she started taking command again. Telling me to hurry up and to empty me bags. Empty your bags? She has some kind of notion she should be in charge of the supplies. And what did you say to that? I talked to her about it, politely. Asked her who the hell put her in charge. I followed her orders and I want to rock the boat. Nah, I kinda want to keep my stuff. Seems reasonable. I wasn't there to fight. I just wanted to get through it. So, what? Did she rob you of everything you owned or what? I was ready to start arguing with her about that. Politely, of course. But turned out she just wanted to make inventory. She very carefully wrote down everything we had with us. From clothes to food to blankets. Huh. I'm not saying she wasn't prissy about it. But I understood. Everyone was stressed out. What about the others in there? Were they happy to be bossed around by her? I think most of them were too shell-shocked to think about that. Someone was in charge. That was enough for most. Did you make any new friends? Mainly old friends. I hadn't been the first there. We mingled. I wonder why I didn't change the font color when Alice was talking. That's why I kind of hesitated, because I'm not sure if it was still him or not. Did she leave you alone afterwards? The place had maybe 20 people in it, us included, but she stayed away from most of the rest of us, so yes, she did. What's like this stuff up here? Oh, I can't do anything with that. Were you the last to arrive? No. Soon after us, there were some others. These she let in without trouble, embracing one of them, this big burly guy with the motorcycle jacket. Someone you knew? Actually, yes. Ray was his name. He lived pretty close. I only knew him for his love for motorcycles. I had no idea he knew the bitch queen. But the place was still empty. Yeah. Soon after, though, there was another knock, and this time the bitch queen tried to do the same thing she did with me. What did you do? I stepped in. This was unacceptable. I protested naturally. I kept quiet. I don't know. Do I want to rock the boat? Maybe just keep quiet? I know it's just a dream, but geez. What she was doing was just not right. I know, but I was afraid. I didn't want to be thrown out. I understand. Still, boy was my blood. Well, anyway, she and her friends closed the door and made sure it was kept closed. I really hope whoever was left outside actually left to find another shelter. Because when the bomb started to drop... Oh, damn. Okay, maybe I should have done something. Ah, yes. The bombs. We were all underground. Then instead of stairs leading to the actual bunker, it was filled with barrels and barrels of beer and other drinks. But at least there was light. For a while. So it actually happened. The nuclear war. Yes. We had a radio with us, and we all sat clustered around it. At first, there were sporadic reports that the U.S. missile defense system was working, and that it was shooting down the incoming warheads. But then the signal turned off, and a few moments later, we felt the rumble. Holy shit, but you were okay? The shelter did what it was designed to do, yes, although at one point there was a terrible sound just above, and the shelter was briefly filled with dust. I was pretty sure we were all dead. People were screaming, babies were crying, the lights flickered and died. It was the end. Holy shit. Your subconscious wasn't joking around. We subsisted on candles and flashlights and waited for the radio to come back. It did, after a while. What did it say? Just about expected fallout patterns. It sounded very recorded, but I guess there had to be someone alive up there. still cooking the buns, but even that ended after a while. Wow, okay, so how long did you stay down there? Well, the radio said there was a cloud of radioactive ash coming our way within 24 hours. It told everyone to stay inside until further notice. Then it died. So, I guess you stayed at least 24 hours then. Of course. Problem came when we tried to leave. What? Well, the shelter was underground, underneath a big trap door, and the house above had apparently collapsed on the trap door. We tried to open it, push and push, but it wouldn't budge. Damn, that's like a real nightmare. Buried alive. Yeah, that is a freaking nightmare. Holy crap. Well, we had food down there for a while, and if we started drinking beer with our meals, we could probably stretch it out for weeks. Of course, then we'd all be kind of drunk at the time too. But what then? Maybe there'd be rescue? Maybe. But if there wasn't? What did the others think? Ray and his queen wanted to sit tight and wait for help. A few of the others wanted to find an alternative way out. Maybe through one of the ventilation shafts. Third option would be to keep working on the trap door. It opened out, but if we removed the hinges and got it to collapse inward, and then dug up through the debris. Radioactive debris. The radioactive debris. Anyway, people were getting very antsy, so it was time to make some kind of decision. Well, so what did you do? Staying put and waiting for rescue seemed the best option. We could do that. Working on the trapdoor, I'm against that just because of the radioactive debris. Opening up an alternative exit seemed the wisest, like a ventilation shaft. That seems to be a lot more sense. Do what the others did. I'm debating between staying put or opening up an alternative exit. Let's do alternative exit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you get your air from the ventilation shaft? Well, yes. So it's kind of risky to go messing with it. And we all knew that. But the trapdoor didn't feel like a good idea. And neither was just staying put. So it was a shot. So what did you find out? Well, I stood on the shoulders of some of the others. I managed to dislodge the grate on one of the shafts in the roof. I shone a flashlight in and saw it was just barely big enough for one thin-shouldered person. Sounds like someone I know? Well, with a bit of help, they pushed me up into the shaft. It was tight, very tight, but I could just barely wiggle my way upwards. This was roughly the point where I remember I have a serious fear of enclosed places. Yeah, there's no way I could do that. That would be like a nightmare. I still have nightmares about two scenes. That one scene in Die Hard where he's in the shaft and he's like, you know, now I know what a TV dinner feels like. Like, I could never do that. And that scene in Aliens. Remember when Bishop goes inside the tunnel and like he can't even like move his arms? He basically has to wiggle inside that little shaft. There's no way I could ever do that. Like, if it was between death or doing that, I would choose death because I would be too scared that I would get stuck and die of starvation. Like, I can't do something like that. Well, I understand. What if you got stuck? No one would be able to help you, especially if it was somewhere further up. Who knows if it would even lead to the surface, or if it was unblocked up there. Risky. Yeah, I know. I definitely had some reservations. So, what'd you do? Tried to trap door instead. I carried out and crawled. Well, let's just keep going, man. We're already in there, so. Brave. It was that or remain stuck underground. Either way, I was going to die in the dark. Still, I think most people prefer to delegate that, or then hope for the best somewhere else. Kind of shame that our survival is so weak. Hey, don't ask me. I did what I did in the dream, because that's who I was in the dream. I don't think it was me exactly. It was more like a future potential me, you know? Sure, I guess. Anyway, crawl space, how did you do? It was tight, and it got tighter fast. I felt like hyperventilating, but somehow I got my breathing under control. The flashlight helped a lot. Guess you didn't have a piece of mushroom that would make you smaller, did you? Ha, very appropriate. No, I didn't. Anyway, somehow I managed to continue pushing myself up the sides of the tunnel. I got so tired, so fast. Every muscle in my body was burning. It can't have been that far underground, though. It must have been just a few dozen feet, right? Sure, but there were filters, and it was thin, and it was straight up, and yeah, it was not fun. The worst part was I didn't even have any proper tools with me, just whatever we had used to pry away the first cover. A claw, hammer, I think. What was your strategy? Slow and steady, get through as fast as possible, just bash my way through anything that comes in my way. Slow and steady. It wasn't easy. I really don't want to think about what would have happened if I hadn't kept my cool. It would have been so easy to just get stuck. But you didn't. I didn't. Somehow I found myself looking at sunlight, streaming in through a grate at the very top. At that point, I had removed about 5 active coal filters, so I knew that whatever else happened, their filtration system would be broken now. In other words, you had to get them out. Yes, except that wouldn't be as easy as that. Jesus, the way things looked up there. Yes? The whole building had collapsed on top of us. It was nothing but concrete and rebar and broken glass. Luckily, the ventilation shaft was on the street, and luckily nothing had fallen on it either, but the rest of the city was pretty much unrecognizable. So there really had been a nuclear war. I don't think there was ever any doubt. Anyway, I had a bit of a breakdown, but then I got to business. I located the trapdoor soon enough. It was buried underneath a ton of rubble, but it actually didn't look as bad from up here. A concentrated effort from down below, with some help from up here, would see it clear within a day, I was sure. About the radiation, I don't know. We had waited for a while. Everything was covered in a layer of ash, but I had no idea if it was radioactive or not. So what did you end up doing? I left them to their own devices. I mean, that would be basically leaving them to die. I had to dig them out, of course. I figured it would be faster to dig them out if I found help first. Oh man, I'm debating between dig them out or find help first. Who knows how long the help will take though. Let's just try to dig them out. The site was, like I said, a mess. I figured though that my first step would be to dig out enough of it to be able to bang on it, to let people know I had gotten out. Clever. Did they answer? Yes, excitedly and repeatedly. So you started clearing it on your end, and they? And they started to try to break open the trap door so that they could help in their own way. How long did it take? It took longer than I would have wanted. I worked hard, and I think that inspired a lot of people down there. But I had a feeling the bitch queen was less than helpful. It took us 2 days of work, though more and more people joined in after the first crack of light could be seen. Must have been wonderful, though, to help dig out all those people. Were they grateful? Oh, what's going on? I don't know what any, like, it won't allow me to click any of this stuff. Maybe I'm tired or hurt or something. Ah, yes. Although the bitch queen still held onto her fort. She said in no uncertain terms that she was staying right there, and that anyone who didn't want to wait for rescue was free to leave. And you? Were you free to stay? Not in a million years. She was adamant I left. Me specifically. Queen Bee syndrome. The others? The others crawled up after me. They do what I wanted. A few others joined as well, jumping camp. So what did you decide to do? It's time to leave town, all of us together. It's time to leave town, but I was doing it alone. I want to find out what happened to Chess. I wasn't going down without a fight. That fallout shelter was ours. Fallout shelter has nothing but beer, so let's leave town, all of us together. So how many of you left? We were 6 when we left the apartment building. What did it look like? The streets? Awful. Ruined buildings everywhere, charred by fire, most of them. We had to pick our way between cars and debris and bodies. There were so many bodies. It makes me sick just to think about it. Did you figure out where to go? We started coming across survivors soon enough. People like us, some with backpacks, and some with just the clothes on their backs. It was absolutely wretched to see them. Some were staying put, but most were moving. Rumor had it there was an evacuation center set up at the college. What, like your college? Yeah. Talk about going back to where you started. Go on. How'd it go? It was pretty slow going, and even though we tried to keep out of the black rain, there wasn't all that much we could do. But at least we had a goal, and others had to help us get there. So it was real, the evacuation center? Not so fast. There's a slight obstacle still on the way. Oh, what's that? The river. There's a river? Not something I had thought about either. I didn't live anywhere near it, so whenever I crossed it, I just drove over it. But there it was, a geographical reality. So, I mean, the bridges were surely still there. True, but when we approached them, we realized they were occupied. Oh, by whom? Not sure. I saw them from afar and kind of ducked into cover. I saw immediately they weren't good news. They had guns and were harassing the other people who'd come to the bridge. I think they were mugging them. Did they let anyone pass? Yes, some, but I didn't know what the price was or if they had some other criteria for letting people through. So what'd you do? Obviously, you don't want to deal with them. See what would happen. I went up to them, confronted them. There are other bridges across. I went downriver to find one. What's to say the other bridges didn't have similar setups? Seems like a likely thing to do. I was willing to take the chance. I wasn't going to tangle with a group of armed men, even if I lost some time. How much time did you lose? There's actually not much else to say. Huh? Well, I've been feeling it for a long time already, but by then it just came to an end. I couldn't move anymore. I was too weak. I had to rest, but I couldn't even keep food down. In the end, I couldn't even stay conscious or talk. Radiation poisoning? Yes, of the acute bad kind. Suppose it's lucky I can't really say much more of my last time on Earth. I was too delirious, too out of it to really notice or realize anything anymore. Maybe some of the others tried to help me. I don't even know. I came in and out of it, but mostly I remember incredible pain whenever I was conscious. I'm guessing that's the end of our playthrough. And it thus concluded my dream. Well, that was interesting. What do you think? I think it felt incomplete, like there was something missing. That wasn't the way it was supposed to end, you know? Dreams are supposed to end in certain ways. This one was... I think I felt like I was trying to tell me something, but I wasn't listening close enough. Maybe you can try again next night. See if you hear the same recording. Speaking of, what frequency was it on? That's the weird part. When I tried to see, I realized I had hit the right channel. That it was, in fact, reading Alice in Wonderland. And this isn't exactly some obscure number station frequency on the AM bands. Well, maybe you'll dream it next night again. Anyway, that's the good thing with dreams. You can always dream them again. And maybe do something different the second time around. Okay, so I'm guessing that basically this is the game's always saying start over. Alright, so I'm not gonna tell you how many times I've gone through this and keep failing. So hopefully this one I will be able to make it through all the way. And just so you guys know, this is not the first time I've said it. So basically, this has got to be the one where I make it through all the way. Because if it's not, then you guys won't see this because I won't upload it. Otherwise, I'll just be uploading multiple tries. Literally, it's been, this is probably the 6th time I'm trying this. So we're going to skip this. End of the world, skip that. Let's try calling Chess, because I've done this one and I've done this one. So let's try Chess. Chess, who's that? My, boyfriend. I mean, I don't have a boyfriend, but in my dream I did. Wait up. Tell me more about this sudden new boyfriend of yours. I thought you weren't in the dating scene. Actually, I've been thinking about putting myself out there. Like, maybe some online dating or something? Although I'm kind of afraid to check OkCupid right now. What if there's a guy there named Chess? Good icebreaker. Hi, I'm Alice. I dreamed about you last night. You were my end-of-the-world buddy. Funny. Aren't I just? You were saying about Chess. What kind of name is that anyway? Wasn't really. I mean, yeah, he was pretty hot, I guess. And smart. And into me. And what more could you ask for? I could sense you blushing all the way over here. Well, maybe I should check out Maybe I should check my OkCupid profile, actually. So what did your boyfriend think? Well, first I tried calling him, but all I got was a pre-recorded network busy message. But the net still worked, so I hit him up there. I mean, we did most of our communication in chat anyway. And I found him. But there was no time for, well, anything. I started typing, you know. Holy hell, what the fuck is going on style stuff. And he just tersely replied he had to go. That's a little blunt. He told me he needed to go get his sister. His sister? How come? He'd mentioned her a few times. She's disabled, but lives in a house by herself, out somewhere in the boroughs. Did he ask you to come too? He didn't ask. I did. I'm going to be outside my apartment in 5 minutes, he said, then logged off. I guess that's an invitation of sorts. So what'd he do? Well, I knew that Chess wasn't going to wait for me if I wanted to go with him. I had to go right away. Just grab my stuff and go. Making quick decisions to spur of the moment. Doesn't sound like you. So what do you do? Go with him because this is like the newest thing. I've never had this option before. And everything else like this and this kind of lead to the same stuff and they all end up with failure in my part. So let's go with him. So I decided to go with Chess. I mean, how couldn't I? He clearly needed help. Altruistic. How long had you been dating? Cynic. Long enough to know my feelings were real. I mean, they felt real in the dream. Where did the sister live again? In their borough. Protected the suburbs so pretty far. Chess said he usually takes a subway or a bus. Chess actually lived just down the street, and we always had a customary place to meet. We didn't even need to confirm the place anymore, but it didn't seem very likely we would be able to catch a bus or the subway. So are you planning on getting to the sister in less than 30 minutes? Oh, spoiler. The bombs didn't start dropping on us within 30 minutes. It took longer than that. They did start though. That's lucky. Yeah, well, didn't mean we weren't in a hurry. But you didn't leave empty-handed though, right? Oh, right. Yes, I grabbed the biggest bag I had. Backpack. People always called it magic. You could fit so much into it. Bigger on the inside. Okay. Taking a crowbar. Taking a flashlight. I'm gonna take 2 foods. Do I want a map? I'm gonna take spare clothes. I haven't taken spare clothes this time, but this time, spare clothes, oh, I'll hold it. In case I suddenly find myself on a date. And since I'm assuming gonna be with Chess for this playthrough, I figure I'm gonna need them. So I'm gonna take them with me. And I have space for one more. Maybe take a map. No? Oh, because that puts it in the hands. Can't take that. Oh, I can't take anything else. Okay. So crowbar, flashlight, spare clothes, and then the food. Let's do it. Hold on one second, crowbar. Did you say you brought a crowbar? Yes. Actually, this is weird. I was packing my stuff when I suddenly remembered I brought a crowbar at some point years ago. I know, it's weird remembering during something in the future that I will do in the future, because I sure as hell don't own any crowbars. I don't think a lot of people do. It's a pretty specialized tool unless you're a farmer. Not really. I mean, I have a crowbar and I'm not a farmer, and I don't find it all that special. Well, I did say it was a pretty special dream. Go on. Burrow, sister, bombs incoming. How did you plan to get there in the chaos? The chaos. Yeah, the streets were nuts. Everything and everyone was going crazy. Crashes everywhere. But no one was responsible. The street was completely gridlock. I'm talking maybe 15 minutes after the first announcement here. All it takes is a few cars in the wrong place. But you live pretty central, right? It had to be better further out. Did Chess have a car? No. But if we wanted a car, there was tons around. People just left them keys in the ignition and ran. Holy shit, it really must have been bedlam. It was. I was so scared. So, steal a car or walk? We discussed walking. It was like 14 miles or something. Probably take at least 4 or 5 hours on a good day, and this wasn't a good day. Maybe a good start, though. Things might clear up outside the downtown area and you might be able to steal a car there. Appropriate a car. Stealing sounds so criminal. Whatever you say. Any other options except stealing, appropriating a car, and hoofing it? Something in between. I know a guy with a motorcycle. He really loves that motorcycle, but I wonder if maybe he'd be willing to borrow it. I mean, for fuck's sake, we were going to go rescue a disabled woman. You know him well? Reasonably. Didn't know you knew how to drive a motorcycle. I am a woman of many talents. So what'd you do? I feel like the motorcycle would be a bad idea. Appropriating a car, I've done that in previous tries and it's failed. So I'm gonna try to walk past the worst of the chaos. Because I've done that in the previous one and it got us further We still ended up failing, but maybe if I do this, there'll be another option that I have to do instead of the ones I did previously. This one, it feels like, I mean, well, we need to get 3 people on a motorcycle. What if the guy, assuming the guy is the one at the Ray from the fallout shelter. He doesn't seem like he'd be the kind of guy who would give us his motorcycle. So I'm gonna try to just walk out the worst of the chaos. Decided walking was the best option. The whole downtown area is gridlock, cars everywhere, people running down the sidewalks, and the sirens blaring. It's like one of those disaster movies. No hope of driving anywhere at any rate. But where was everyone going? Most of them were going home, I think. People were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. There you were, running away from home. Once I made my decision, I stuck to it, no matter how much I was filled with doubt. Half an hour was nothing at all. But luckily, that estimate was completely wrong. Sometimes I'll walk half an hour in the wrong direction, just because I stubbornly refuse to believe I'm lost. I didn't know what was the right direction. But I did try to get there as fast as possible. Although there was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I swept in a mass of people, and manhandled in the wrong direction more than once. Was there any danger? Like people attacking each other or something? No. Thought we all going the same direction, but then I realized that the crowd was heading somewhere I hadn't planned to go, a subway station. What'd you do? I swept along. It was that or get trampled or pinned against some wall. I finally managed to disentangle myself at the stalled mass of people just outside the entrance. Apparently it was collapsed and people were trying to break through the gates. By the time I was out though, I had lost a lot of time. Time. Yes. Isn't that something you're fighting here? How far away were you planning on getting? Well, a lot further than I had gone at that point. I could practically still see my apartment building, but the crowd was slowly thinning at least, and I actually saw a vehicle in motion. An ambulance, weaving between stalled cars, with the sirens blaring. What do you do? Oh, now is the perfect time to find the car and follow behind the ambulance. Because I did this one in the previous playthrough, and it failed. And I did this one in the previous playthrough, and it failed. So let's go with this one. Still not sure how you're ethically justifying this to yourself. I was scared out of my wits and it seemed like a good idea at the time. Fair enough. So how did you go about it? You're not going to be terribly proud of me, but I did have a crowbar. Perfect tool for a car thief, but didn't you say people were just leaving their cars unlocked and open in a panic? Yeah. That's not how I ended up using the crowbar. See, I figured I needed something big and strong, right? So as I was looking, I came across this Hummer, parked by the side of the road, doors open, lights on. Engine on. Perfect. No need for a crowbar at all, unless you smash its windows in just for being a Hummer. I didn't need the crowbar to break into it. No. I was just about to slip inside when I heard an angry shout behind me. I turned around and saw this man running toward me. Apocalyptic with rage. Get out of my car. Oh shit. I was in total fight or flight mode. But I guess the heavy blunt implement in my hand let the fight part take over. I raised a crowbar at him and, I don't know, something in my crazy posture must have convinced him I was going to hurt him. He stopped long enough for me to get inside and slam the door shut at least. Whoa. An hour after an announced apocalypse and you're already looking like you're ready to bash ahead in for a ride. Jesus Christ, Alice. Believe me, I thought the same thing. Also, the guy chased after me. I mean, I had just stolen his car, so I had to lose him first. Since traffic was moving so slowly, he could have easily caught up with me. Truly accomplished car thief. I lost some time, but I had a car and traffic was moving. The roads were actually open? Well, no, everything was still extremely gridlock, but the cars were at least moving without needing extra nudging. Getting caught on the freeway during an explosion doesn't seem like a good time though. What was your plan? Okay. So this part was also in a previous playthrough, only this time Chess wasn't with me, but the text is all the same, and I did decide to find the first available shelter. This part wasn't available though. Since I didn't go with Chess in any previous playthroughs, I've never done this option, but this option I did do with another group, and it ended in failure. So, you know what? Let's go with what we plan to do. You actually made it that far? How long was it until the bombs actually hit? I'm not entirely sure, but something like 2 hours? I think they hit everywhere else before they hit us. I'm not really sure why. Missile shield? Do we have one of those? Anyway, I knew that us getting this far was a miracle. Whatever hope we might have of finding a better shelter than Chess's sister's house was nil. I told him that, and he agreed. All he wanted to do was to get. All we wanted to do, maybe, was to get there. I parked the car and I got out. So, was she there? Come on, this is exciting. We went up to the door and Chess started banging on it. After a few minutes, it opened on the chain. I could barely see a mop of pale hair and scared eyes. He told her it was him, and she immediately opened the door and jumped in his arms. Jump? So not a physical disability? It was, but she wasn't wheel-bound consistently. There was, however, a wheelchair in the entry hall. Anyway, we didn't really have time for niceties. The bombs were coming. Right. Miss Pragmatic. So, battle plan. Well, I tried looking for a basement. The place didn't have one, so I suggested building a little fort out of furniture in the living room, hoping the roof wouldn't come crashing down. What about, like, food and things? Whatever the cupboard contained, we took with us to our shelter, of course, and tried to protect it as best we could. So, the bombs, they actually hit then, in the dream? The first thing that happened was the windows blew in. I just closed my eyes and pulled up my knees and made myself as small as possible. Chess held his sister. The bombing continued for, I don't know how long, but aside from the windows, we seemed to be pretty okay. Imagine what it must have been like downtown. I didn't want to think about it was like downtown. It was scary enough out there. A few cars drove past and I heard sirens. At one point, I ventured out to glance out the window. Once the bombs had stopped hitting, I saw a city center in flames. But at least you got out. How long did you wait in the house? Let's do 24 hours. I don't know how safe the house was from fallout, really. The windows blasted open and all that, but it's probably safer than walking the streets. And as long as I ate the uncontaminated food, it ought to be okay, I thought. At least I had a chance to change my clothes. I don't know how big a difference it made, but it felt wonderful to have something non-dusty against your skin. You know what? In all the previous playthroughs, I never brought any clothes. So maybe that's what killed me, was having dusty clothes, because maybe the dust was like radiation. I don't know. This is just me thinking. All the food I had on me really did it, and in the end, I even had to supplement a bit from the cupboards. I'm sure it was fine. So you ate through all of your supplies, and then I wanted to keep going. There were a lot of other survivors on the road as well, and soon enough, the rumors started circulating. There was a government evacuation center set up in the old college. Everyone was going there. The college? As in your college? Yep. Talk about coming back to the beginning. Anyway, that's where everything was headed. There was just one minor problem. Oh? The river. There's a river? Yeah, we did this in a previous playthrough as well. Not something I had thought about either. I didn't live anywhere near it, so whenever I crossed it, I just drove over it. But there it was, a geographical reality. So, I mean, the bridges were surely still there. True. But when we approached them, we realized they were occupied. Uh-oh, by whom? I'm not sure. Saw them from afar and kind of ducked into cover. I saw immediately they weren't good news. They had guns and they were harassing the other people who'd come to the bridge. I think they were mugging them. Did they let anyone pass? Yes, some, but I didn't know what the price was, or if they had some other criteria for letting people through. So what'd you do? Okay, so this has happened in previous playthroughs, and this one ends in death. This one ends in death, so let's confront them. Brave. I wasn't going to let them scare me. So what were they? Just thugs? Part opportunists, part were townsfolk. They claimed they were protecting their part of the town from riffraff who were coming down from the city trying to steal all of their uncontaminated food. That this was just a kind of concerned citizens roadblock, conveniently in the way towards the main evacuation center. Yeah, but, well, I mean, they had a lot of guns, but I didn't really detect a lot of malice in them. Didn't seem like they particularly wanted to use them. So what do? I had enough food. I tried talking my way through. I decided to reconsider the whole thing. I had enough food. Told him the truth. No, I had nothing. I opened my pack to show him, and he grabbed it, emptying it out and rifling through the contents. So much for concerned citizens. So what'd they do then? They told me I was just a looter and I should fuck off. At least they gave me my backpack back. To which you replied, try talking my way through. Ah, yes, the famous fast talk. How did that go? I didn't fast talk. I just told him the truth. I was there to help Chess and his sister across. I told him the incredible lengths we'd gone to get to where we were. I just told the truth. Did that just work? They said they could let Chess and her through. I'll still need to be checked for supplies. And? Well, I didn't have anything, so I just waved them goodbye. What a story. Sorry, I didn't feel very prosaic. Anyway, I still needed to figure out what to do. Decided to reconsider the whole thing. I mean, there's really nothing else I can do. I decided to back off. There had to be some other way around. Clever thinking. So what did you decide? Decided to wait nearby and see what would happen. See what would happen. Somehow I felt like this kind of thing couldn't be forever. Either a bigger, more powerful group would come along and chase them away, the government would show up, or then they'd get bored and leave, so I decided to wait. Alright. Where did you hole up? There's actually a parking garage nearby. You could just stroll in and walk up the river's doorway from where you had a perfect view of the river. Right. Not the best cover though. I scouted through it. I found the staff area. It was small, but empty. What about supplies? There was always loot to be had from surrounding buildings, even if not all of it was perhaps the safest. I did a run before settling in, gathering what I could. So, down to wait. How did that go? Well, I was right. Eventually the government showed up. I was on lookout when it happened. The men down there saw something, and suddenly they were in a huge hurry, packing up their guns and their loot and running away as fast as their legs could carry them. A few minutes later, these huge military trucks came driving down, unloading soldiers before continuing. I've never gone this far before, so hopefully I'm on the right track. Ain't that just lucky? I was pretty happy, yes. I ran down to meet them. They were directing survivors, calling them to them with these huge speakers. The guard at the river had full NBC gear, masks and all, which was a stark contrast to us, but we were sent through and soon enough we were on the way to the evacuation center. So this is the furthest I've ever gone. So maybe this is it? Hopefully this is the one. So the evacuation center, my college, I'm not surprised. I dreamed about it. It's like at the center of my life right now. It was still in the dream, a big part of my life. That's where I worked after all. Is this the part where the dream turns weird and the card starts sprouting legs and begins smoking a hookah or something? Unfortunately, no. That would have been a pretty welcome respite. Even so, it must have been a respite. Proof that society survived, the United States weren't completely obliterated, etc., etc. Speaking of, what did happen to everyone? I don't know. Everything was still rather hazy. News was sporadic and often hearsay. There was a lot of talk about a missile defense system that no one knew we even had, that had apparently managed to shoot down something akin to 90% of all the enemy warheads. Wishful thinking. Based on what I was seeing, I don't really see the difference. 10% was clearly more than enough to wreak unimaginable havoc. Hell, 1% would probably have been enough. Anyway, go on. I want to get to the end. What happened at the center? At the gates, there was a screening process going on. The big plastic corridor where we were all told to undress and go through this super cold shower, after which men in gas masks and plastic coverings ran a Geiger counter over us. Seriously? So what happened? There were 2 doors at the end of the corridor, beyond the men in masks with guns. Whenever the Geiger counters frazzled and complained, you went right. Whenever it was quiet, you went left. I went left. After the check, they gave us new threads. Honestly, they mostly looked like prison garb, but at least they were not radioactive. All of our old stuff would be disposed of. I think they just gave them to the poor people going right. I saw them through the fence, heading off to God knows where in their old clothes, many of them too tired, too sick to even walk upright. That's really sick. I can't even imagine how many millions of casualties they had to deal with. I suppose it was just them being pragmatic. Anyway, what earthly paradise were you led to then? They had set up shelters for us in the dorms and in some of the lecture halls indoors with proper protection and daily washing and clean food. We were scheduled to stay there for just a little while. until they could relocate us somewhere safer. It all seemed very organized and in control. So, was Chess and his sister there? Yes. Yes, they had made it. He was incredibly happy to see me. I was pretty happy to see him too. Great. Aside from all the millions of casualties, a happy ending. Did you have hot dream sex and then wake up? No. Our happiness was, like you so kindly pointed out, relative. The world would never be the same, and we knew it. But at least we had each other. But no, that wasn't the end of the dream. Do go on. Did you rebuild society or something? How much longer is this dream? Should we maybe continue tomorrow, like a part 2 or something? No, it's almost over, but this is where it gets weird. Remember that music I heard on the radio before falling asleep? Yep. So, I was taking a walk between buildings and enjoying the fine weather since they had given a fallout all clear. They sprayed the lawns daily and checked them for rats when I heard it again. Kind of like you'll turn the sound of thunder into explosions in the dream? No. Or maybe. Actually, yes, it's not a bad analogy. The music was a connection between the dream and the real world. When I heard it, it was like I suddenly remembered that I once had the dream I was currently having. I remember in the dream thinking of how incredibly unlucky that was. It was weird, okay? Dreams are weird. So the music, where did it come from? It came from the admin building. It's this big place with the rector's office and a bunch of other offices, so teaching spaces off to the side a bit close to the stadium. I shouldn't have heard it by any means. Yet somehow I did. I walked closer, but that building wasn't a part of our turf. The doors were all under lock and key, and there was a fence cutting off the main entrance, but I knew it came from there. Okay, so what'd you do? I just knew there was some connection there, some truth hidden in those tunes, something that would allow me to wake up from this nightmare, because that's what it was. Every single aching, painful, awful moment of it, but it was beyond locked doors, inside a building, presumably filled with men with guns. You got this far. Was there really nothing you could do? Well, since I worked out of it, I did happen to know of a smallish security flaw in its construction. Or, it wasn't actually that I happened to know about it. It was more like I had consciously decided to look for ways to break in when I first started working there. Exactly in order to allow myself to get in when I needed to. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. You actively remembered in your dream that you had this dream and therefore changed your life in order to have the keys when you had the dream again, or when it happened in real life. Exactly. This is the weirdest goddamn dream, and I've had a lot of weird dreams. Anyway, what next? Well, the security flaw was that one of the electronic locks on one of the side doors would actually just open if anything vaguely magnetic was passed over it. So I borrowed a metal platter from the cafeteria and swept myself in. It took all of 3 seconds. Nice. So you got in. Guards, alarms? No, nothing. Just the music ever louder. Followed it upstairs to the room to one of the professors of archaeology specializing in South American history, I believe. Mayan specifically. It's pretty weird that it was possible whoever was in there would just raise the alarm, and God knows where they'd throw me in. Maybe in with the sick, but the music, I had no choice. I opened the door. There was a man there. He was sitting behind the professor's desk, feet on the table, bobbing his head to the music. He had a head of white and a thick beard, and was wearing a ratty old band t-shirt and jeans. Around his forehead he had a scarf. When I opened the door, I was greeted with the unmistakable smell of pot. His joint fell out of his mouth when he noticed me. One of the staff? No, but he definitely did not look government either. We stared at each other over the table. After a few moments, he picked up the blunt again, expecting it for damage. Asserting it was fine, he offered it to me. Smoke? Haha, did you accept? After all that had happened? Hell yes. He offered me a seat and then handed me the joint. He was an older man, in his late 60s or early to mid 70s, but still looking sprightly. An old hippie. There was no mouse in his eyes. He looked tired and sad mostly. This is pretty weird. Call me Rabbit, he said. Sorry, don't mean to quote directly, but no, actually, I do mean to quote directly. I remember it all so clearly. Don't let me stop you, Alice. We just quietly shared the blunt for a while, and then he started talking. He had a very pleasant, mellow voice. I fought in the war, you know. Vietnam. He said, taking the joint back and inhaling deeply. I was really good at what I did. Ranger stuff. Beyond the lines. Nasty, nasty stuff, he frowned. Weirdest dream ever. You sure it wasn't a member of staff? I'm sure. He just continued ignoring my apparent confusion. When I got back, I was pretty messed up. Everyone hated me too. I couldn't understand it. I had fought to protect the US. I was supposed to be a hero, like my pops before me, but instead all of these people my age were protesting, burning flags, hating, and I couldn't let go of what I'd done either. He smiled at me, then laughed like it was some kind of joke. You don't know where this is going, do you? So he was traumatized, war vet. You don't have any of those in your family, do you? No, I don't even know any modern war vets. We're very anti-war in my family. But this character, he was a character, like a walking stereotype, but he still felt very real, heavy, present, trying to smoke away his troubles 4 or 5 decades afterwards. Deep scars, and he was right. I was even more confused than when I had come there. I wonder where you cooked him up then. Seems so oddly anachronistic. I can never say that word. I know what that word means, but I can never pronounce it for the life of me. This is where he leaned in under the table and took out 2 things. One was safe. I'm assuming one was a safe. One was a safe. One of those small portable ones. This one with a 4-digit pin. The other was a heavy agent-looking 1911 semi-automatic handgun. You're drawn to this music, aren't you? He said. The gun and the box just lay there. Like he forgot about them the moment he took them out. He continued, well, it's not the music really, it's what's underneath it. Old sounds, older than you'd think, held together by God knows what. Magic far as I know. My great-great-great-grandpops found it. Far down south. That's what my dad said at least. He used it, after his war, to help him sleep at night. Some kind of old, Mayan type stuff? Prophecy stuff? I turned it on and holy shit, he wasn't kidding. The dreams it gave you. A future all rosy and beautiful. Peace, no war, east and west, living in harmony, learning from each other, free love, free drugs, rock and roll. Every night I could fall into this future vision, living a guilt-free life. Some kind of dream time travel device? But his vision sounds pretty utopian. Yeah, he was getting to that. But then one night it all changed. Instead of waking up to peace and love, I woke up to, well, kind of a version of this. He waved out the window, which had a nice view of the downtown area, still smoking. The bombs had fallen. I panicked. I had figured out already it was some kind of prophetic dream. I figured out already it was some kind of prophetic device. But since the future looked so rosy, all I was doing was ticking out a bit of it in advance, while the rest of history caught on, except now something changed. Fascinating. So I did the worst mistake a person can do. I brought it to the government. I knew there was no other way to convince them my vision, which I'd had for a solid month straight now, was true. I managed to get to my old buddy in the CIA through my military connections. I set them up by the recorder. I walked them through the vision. They were convinced, and they also knew something about what had caused it. Some secret scheme they'd all been cooking up, which had clearly backfired. I'm not sure if this explains all of recent history or does the exact opposite. Here's the thing. They would have happily thrown me in the dogs after getting a hold of the thing, but the problem was it had attached to me. Maybe to my bloodline, maybe something else, God knows. I was the dreamer. It showed me my dreams, which granted was the future of mankind, but still, they needed me. So wait, if they could predict things, why didn't they predict 9/11 or the fiasco of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan? I know you have a lot of other questions, but we don't really have time for those. He glanced at a clock, then picked up the handgun. I tensed. 10 minutes? I'm scheduled to wake up. And when I do, everyone else attached to the dream also wakes up, including you. Holy shit, so basically this whole time we were a dream within a dream? No. You have to ask him about the radio signal. Why was it on public radio? And the box. What was up with the box? I did. And he laughed and said, it's never been, and it never will be. The recording is locked in the deepest vaults of the Pentagon. somewhere next to the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail. They run it once a year in a very controlled environment. You wouldn't believe the controls they have, the secrecy. There is no possible way you could have heard it. That is incredibly unhelpful, he added with a twinkle in his eyes as he lifted up the pistol. Then again, my old grand, etc. pops did reportedly say that he heard it, calling him through stone, rock, and soil from an unexcavated burial chamber. My pop said he heard it playing from the attic on the day after his dad's funeral, even though that was just impossible. Maybe it just calls for its next dreamer when it knows the previous one is on its last leg. Shit. Hey, wait, the strongbox? That was the bloody weirdest part. He indicated the box with the gun, then looked at me. I will give you 2 minutes to open this box. If you are the new dreamer, which I think you might be, that shouldn't be any problem for you. And then he just got up to finish the blunt by the window. What? That makes no sense. How could he possibly know that? What'd you do? Open the box. Okay, so 4 digits, that's a lot of possible combinations. Better than nothing. Okay, so let's see if we got this right. So to get the key, the passcode digit, you actually have to play this game multiple times, and you have to play it in a certain way because you have to unlock certain events. And when you do, a number will flash on the screen very quickly. Like basically like a number 4 will pop up for like a second or two, and then it'll disappear. And you have to quickly write it down, and you have to memorize the order it's in. So for example, I had a 4 pop up here, I had a 7 pop up here, I had a 4 pop up here, and a 1 pop up here. And now I have to figure out what order they go in. Let's try this again. So let's try 4, 7, no wait. 4, 7, 1, 4. What? What, you open it? What? How? Oh shit, we did it. I knew the code. I lived it. I learned it as I fell into the rabbit hole again and again. You're scaring me, Alice. So he's a dude? I'm sorry. What was my intention? I didn't start this conversation with the intention of scaring you. I didn't remember then that... That what, Alice? What were you going to say? What was in the box, Alice? The box? The box was a test. Damn, how didn't I see it earlier? The music, the radio, rabbit. What? I still don't understand. And what did you mean earlier? What didn't you remember when we started this conversation? I didn't remember the music. I didn't realize what it meant. Don't you understand? Rabbit is free. No, I still don't understand. For God's sake, Alice, it was just a dream. It was just a dream. Yes, it was. Thank you for reminding me. Alice C has just logged out. All right. There we go. Finally beat it. Jesus. Oh, that took forever. So when I saw like stuff on this game, it basically said that the game would take like 30 minutes to beat. It's like, no. I mean, 30 minutes if you nailed it right. But then again, not even that, because you have to play it multiple times to get the 4-digit codes and get them in the right order and stuff. And to get those codes, you have to play the game in a specific way. Like you have to unlock specific events to get those codes. Otherwise, like just playing it through won't get you anything. It has to be a specific order to unlock a specific event to get you a specific code, which is crazy and just really RNG. I had to basically look up online what events I needed to trigger to get the codes. And even then, like there's no like, oh, just go online and everyone's code is the same. Like everyone's code is different. So that was crazy, but it was interesting. I mean, for a free-to-play game, they had my interest. The story was, pretty decent stuff. I will say that the way to find the 4-digit code is a little mean, but yeah, I enjoyed this game. I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, what do you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, all that cool jazz if you guys feel like it. Is there any games out there you guys recommend? I mean, if it's free, great. But I'm always looking for like little. I mean, obviously, first things with great stories are always my number one, and just something, maybe even something smaller, like something like this, something indie, something not, most people don't really know about, might be kind of cool. If you guys have any recommendations or anything like that, just let me know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.